Hey guys, so I just got back home from church a few minutes ago. It's a little after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We normally get out around 12 or 1 o'clock, but we had a couple of places to go after church, so that's why it took a little bit longer. Today was my first service back since my procedure, and what was really cool was that I got to surprise our whole church. I don't think that anyone knew that I was going to be there. And when I got to church, I sat in the back, like in the fellowship hall, talked to a couple of people, and then went to Sunday school, and then went from Sunday school to regular church. And we had a really good service. We didn't really have much of a lesson in Sunday school. The young people that went to youth camp or church camp, they got to talk about what spoke to them the most. So it was really cool to hear from all the young people. We had a really good service. People were really excited to see me. I wasn't sure if I was ready to go back or not, because this is the first service since after my procedure that I was going to go to. So I was a little bit nervous about it, but I decided to try, and I'm really glad that I did, because it was at the point that I had stayed home for so long that it was almost getting depressing from not being able to see people. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to go, but I'm going to be extra careful. So that's what I did. I went, but I was extra careful. When we got there, went to sit with the people in the foyer, and not in the foyer, and I can't think of what it's called. But basically I went to find some of my church people to sit by, and I sat by them and visited till Sunday school, then went from Sunday school to church, and then kind of each place I went, I sat down so that I was, not doing too much. And I did get to stand through service, which I was really glad, even though it was mostly like standing there and not moving around a whole lot. But I was glad that I was able to stand for that long. And then at altar call, when most people go to the altar, I decided to go down to the front, and instead of going down to the altar, I got on the front row, and I got down on a chair on the front row because I thought that would be easier on my stomach than getting down at the altar, because the altar is lower than the chairs that we have at church. So, and then whenever I got up from the chair, it was really, really hurting. And so then after that, I had some of the people in my church help us pray, because it's been kind of difficult, because with this feeding tube moving or being too long, it's really uncomfortable, and the more I move, the worse it hurts. So when I got up from the chair, even though it wasn't as far down to the ground as the altar is, I was in quite a bit of pain. So I had my pastor and his wife and a few others from our church pray with me. But it was really, really good to see everyone. Then after church, we went to Brahms, got an ice cream, and then I went by Sonic and got a coffee. What I do for my order is I get the French vanilla coffee, and then for like 70 cents, you can add caramel to it. Which I used to get the Viridian coffees, which is a coffee shop, but the Viridian coffees are like, I think about $5 or $6. But if you get Sonic coffee and you add caramel, it's like $3.70 or something. So it's still not as much as the like a professional coffee would be. And this one, the one from Sonic is more like liquidy, and the ones from Viridian have like texture to them. So I don't think it would go through my tube if, you know. Anyways, it was really good to see my church people, and I really missed them, and they were so surprised and so excited, and trying to think of what else happened. I got home very tired and exhausted, and I could tell that I used my muscles a lot, and so I put my pump on my pole over here, and I put it on the charger, which is this black thing right here, and then I hooked it up to myself. I am on it all the time, but I have to like unhook to like transfer it from my backpack to the pole, because like if I'm on my bed or like asleep or something, I'd rather it be on the pole, especially so it can charge. So I did all that. Now I'm just sitting on my bed relaxing, and I'm really, really thankful for just people who really care and show their support. And one lady in our church that I'm really close to, she just like kept giving me hugs when I got there. She was, like, so good to see you. And then before I left, she gave me another hug, and it was really, really sweet. So I'm gonna use like the rest of the evening to kind of relax, rest, and I do get my button on the 3rd of July, so I'm glad that it's getting closer, because with this button being too long, it's like really uncomfortable. But anyways, trying to think of what else might be going on. I guess that's about it. I also drove through KFC, not KFC. We drove through Chicken Express and got some rolls and some sweet tea, because our family is having roast, and I don't know if we're having potatoes and carrots or not. A lot of people have been asking if I get hungry for like real food. The answer is no, I don't really get hungry per se, but I still miss like how food used to taste. And like, you know how like when somebody's eating something, you can like smell it and you like know what that taste is? I still crave like that part of it. Not that I'm hungry, I just like miss that specific taste of that food. So it's not really that I crave food for the sake of being hungry. I just like remember the taste of it. That's why I like to get myself some kinds of candies like suckers or M&Ms or Skittles or something like that, because those kind of candies, they melt, so they just go through my tube. If you don't know what venting is, it's basically like instead of me eating something by mouth and getting sick like that, if I have candy that can melt, like a sucker or M&Ms or something, whenever it melts, instead of me getting sick like regular, it goes through my G-tube, which goes to my stomach, and I'm able to open up the end of the tube, and that comes out kind of like getting sick, but I'm because it's just like the extra stuff, like the candy that I'm having, and not things like my formula, because that goes into my intestines, not my stomach. I can keep it down, and that's the reason why I got to be on a feeding tube, because my stomach doesn't work the way it should. So I'm still technically, my calories do come from my formula, but I'm allowed to have like ice cream that's plain, like no chunky stuff in it, M&Ms, suckers, Skittles, things like that that can melt enough to go through my G-tube and kind of like, I don't know, melt enough, if that makes sense, so I can still keep my weight with the feeding tube. So anyways, I hope all that made sense. I am really tired from using my energy, so I'm going to lay down and relax and watch something. But thank you for coming on this journey with me. Be sure that you subscribe if you're new and hit the notification bell. And I will see y'all soon. Bye, everyone.